Today, I would like to dive into some of the reality of being a business owner. There's a certain presentation of being an entrepreneur that we see online, and it can really make us feel inadequate and like we are not doing as well as everybody else, especially if you're in a point where your business is really hard, if you feel like you're struggling. You might think that you're doing everything wrong or you're not meant to be an entrepreneur. But that's because you are comparing your real daily experience with what you are seeing of everybody else online. So let's dive into the truth of what it's like to be a business owner. If you don't know me, my name is Kayla Droog, and I love helping small business owners create more time and efficiency so they can focus on serving their clients and growing their businesses. So, first of all, the truth is creating and growing a business is hard. It's incredibly hard. It is probably one of the hardest things I have ever done. In my case, totally worth it, but it is not for everyone. That's the truth. So if you are considering growing a business, then you should know what you're getting into. Or if you're in the process of trying to start and grow a business and you're feeling like this may not be the direction you want to go, there's nothing wrong with that. So first of all, one of the realities that we have to deal with as a small business owner is that starting a business takes so much work and so much time. When you are first starting out, there are so many things that you need to do, and you are the one doing all of them. Unless you can afford to hire somebody to do something like set up your website or get your social media platform started, you are responsible for those things. And if you don't know what you're doing, they're going to take you more time to learn and figure everything out and get it to the place that you want it to be. You also wear all of the hats in your business. You are responsible for all of the administrative tasks and bookkeeping and social media and billing and scheduling. You are doing everything. And when we start out our business to do the things that we are good at, the things that we enjoy, and then we have to do all of these other things, it can be a struggle, especially because all of those other things can often take up way more time than the things that we actually started our business to do in the first place. And it can feel sometimes like there are just so many things keeping you from doing those things that you want to do. It feels like you're never going to get where you want to go. You are never going to be finished setting these things up. It's a very daunting prospect. You also have to learn so many things. You don't just have to be an expert in that thing that you do, but now suddenly you have to be a marketing expert and a sales expert and a social media expert. And it is too many things for all of us to be experts in. But again, we are the ones responsible for doing these things because most business owners, when we're just getting started as solopreneurs, cannot afford to outsource these things, or at least we feel like we can't. We feel like those are not the things that we want to invest in. So we struggle through learning how to do all these things ourselves. And it's so much work learning all of these things, especially if they are not things that come to you naturally, if they're not things that you pick up easily. And the unfortunate reality is many of them are going to be things that you don't enjoy. I recommend starting a list of the things that would be the priorities to outsource if and when you get there. Because We all have that list. This is the first thing that's going to go as soon as I can get somebody to do it for me. I know for me, some of the things that I have outsourced in my own business are repetitive administrative tasks, because those are the kinds of things that I don't particularly enjoy doing, but it's going to look different for all of us. Another reality of being a business owner, and something that can make business really hard, is that oftentimes our family and friends are not going to get it. Honestly, owning a business is one of those things that I think is very difficult, if not impossible, to fully understand unless you've actually done it. If you have never actually owned your own business, you are never going to fully grasp everything that is involved. All of the time, the effort, the pressure, the expectations, everything that goes into it. So you will have family members who do their best to be supportive, but they're never going to fully understand what it is like to do what you do. And that makes it really hard, because it's hard to feel like you're surrounded by people who get it, who get what it is like to live your life. And it can make them challenging to be around, because they don't understand the pressure you're under and how stressed out you are and how hard you're really working. One of the things that I encountered is that family and friends who are not entrepreneurs do not understand the time commitment, especially when you're early on in your business. You have to work basically 24/7 when you're first starting out, or at least you feel like you need to. And you're pretty much on call all the time, because you don't want to miss a lead or a potential client. You don't want to miss out on a chance of income. And friends and family are not always understanding about why you need to have your phone out on the table and answer your notifications when you are out to dinner. I remember towards the end of my first year in business, I went away for a few days with a friend, and that friend was on vacation, and I had done my best to limit the amount of work that I had to do that week, but I was not able to completely eliminate work that week. So we would get up in the morning and I would do an hour or two of work. Then we would go and do whatever we were going to do for the day. And then when we came back in the evening, I would do another hour or two of work. And that was a very reduced workload for me at the time. So I felt like I was doing really good. I was balancing both. We were still having a fun trip. And it was a fun trip. But at the end, my friend said to me, the next time we go away together, can we please do it at a time when you don't have any work at all? And my first thought was, so never? Because I felt like there was never going to be a time when I don't have any work to do at all. That's crazy talk. What is that like? And I've since reached a point in my business where that's not true. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But I think it's perfectly understandable why she would feel that way coming from her experience. But it's also perfectly understandable why I felt the way I did coming from an entrepreneur experience, because it is so hard to get across the fact that you can't just drop everything whenever you want. You are responsible for everything. You don't get set vacation days like people working a traditional job. Work doesn't just stop because you're out of the office. And depending on your type of business, if you stop work for a few days, you don't get paid. So it can be really challenging explaining that to our loved ones. Another thing that can be challenging to explain to them is that we don't just have completely flexible time all the time. I have people who think that because I am self-employed and I work from home, that means that I can drop things on a moment's notice if they want to do something. That means they can drop by whenever they want. That means I can go out for lunch on a weekday whenever I want. That means I'm available for a phone call whenever they want. And while I have worked hard to have the flexibility to go out for lunch with a friend on a weekday if I want to, or take an afternoon out of the office if I want to, that doesn't mean I can just do those things at a drop of a hat with no planning. And yes, I have control over my time and I have managed to create a more flexible schedule, but I do need advance notice, and this has been a challenging conversation to try to have with friends and family. Another reality for most small businesses, unless you happen to get lucky or magically be in the right place at the right time, is that it is probably going to be a long game. It takes time to grow a business to the point where it is full-time, where it has enough consistent income to support you. It takes time to build a client base, to build a network, to build a reputation so that you have that consistent business coming in without you having to constantly go looking for it. It also takes time to figure out who you are as a business owner and what you actually want to be doing and the direction that you actually want to go. So, as I've discussed in past videos, when I was first starting out my business, I started out with very general services. Part of this was that I didn't really know what I wanted to be doing yet. Part of it was that I thought those were things that people needed. And part of it was that I listened to bad advice from some people around me at the time about what business owners would and would not actually pay for. But as I got further into my business and worked with more clients and did more things, I really started to understand what I enjoyed doing, what I was good at, and what people were and were not looking for. And that really allowed me to focus on an area of expertise that I have gotten really good at, things that I really enjoy doing, and where there is a market. So this is something that takes time for you to develop. But the more you lean into that in your business, the better it's going to be. Because if we continue to offer general services and try to serve everyone, our businesses are just not going to be as successful. Really, when you're first getting started, the goal is to build your business to the point where you can just take a breath, where you feel like you can step away for a moment without everything falling apart, where you have enough income coming in that you are not constantly anxious about where money is going to come from. And when you reach that point, that's when you have more choices and more opportunities in your business. That is where you're able to choose who you do and do not work with, what you do and do not offer, and it's a great place to get to. But the reality is it takes time, it takes effort to get there. You are going to be battling so many things along the way, especially imposter syndrome. That is a big thing that can hold you back as a business owner. And I have an entire video on that, so I'm not going to go into it now, but you can find that link on the screen if you want to dive more into how imposter syndrome might be holding you back in your business. Hey everyone. So when I went in to edit this video, it was so long. So I have split it into two parts. So you've just finished watching part one, and then in part two, I'm going to go into different steps that you can take if you feel like you are struggling with your business right now. So tune in for that next week. If you have any questions about anything I discussed in this video, about the realities of owning your own small business, please leave a comment or feel free to reach out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you know someone who would benefit from this video, please share it with them. I will see you soon.